What do you think of this knowledge worker apocalypse that's going to be coming, and can you explain it too?
Yeah, so there's about 132 million full-time employees in the United States. It's estimated about 100 million of them are knowledge workers, which means that thinking is a significant part of their job. There's disputes about how accurate that is, but it's the right order of magnitude. And consumer spending is 68% of our GDP. So it's a really important part of our economy. So in 2 to 3 years, when essentially Beatty AGI, prompt chains can handle just about any topic reasonably well, we're going to see a huge collapse in that workforce. It's going to be faster than I think we're ready for. It's going to be profoundly impactful to the economy, and I don't think we're ready. So that's what the knowledge worker apocalypse is. We're about to see something kind of.
And you believe this is coming to games, I guess?
I think it is. I think it's going to be transitory. It's going to be really, really bad because I don't think there's an administration in place to say, hey, let's start a New Deal, put Americans to work kind of program. And I think it's going to kind of catch us with our pants down, especially if our economy is weakened by these tariff wars in advance. So yeah, I think that's going to be really scary. There's great arguments for good things too, but I think yeah, we see something of a storm coming.
Was there something that set you on this depressing path?
Reason. I hate. No, to be honest, I don't think it's AI in particular. My beef is with what I call scalar money commerce, which is the absurd idea of attaching the formal value of a good or service to a single number called the price or a wage. That's such a lossy codec that the compression artifacts of that are climate change and gross wealth inequality, eventually violence, all kinds of awful things. AI just happens to be an incredibly good stressor for that old broken gameplay mechanic of make more than you spend.
Did you understand some of that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's get Simon in on this.
Sure. So I guess my perspective is a bit different.
Also introduce yourself too, because we know you're the pro AI guy for some reason, right?
So I'm Simon. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Mighty Bear Games. We're a studio based out of Singapore, and we've been investing very heavily in AI as part of our core development pipeline actually for a number of years. So our AI tech lead is at the back there, but it's really transformed how the studio operates. And so we have, I guess, a slightly different perspective. I do actually agree that in the short term, it's going to be pretty disruptive. So, on our own end, what we see now from 1 or 2 artists on the team is equivalent to what we were seeing with, 15, 20, 30 people, even as recently as like a couple of years ago. And so certain parts of the pipeline are being massively accelerated. But as a byproduct of that, you're seeing the cost of content creation go down really low. So I was on another panel just over a month ago, and I made a prediction that within the year, you're going to see one-man studios with someone that has no background in game development operating a game as a service. So operating an online game, one dude, never made a game before, and everything is prompt-based. And that came true 6 days after I made that prediction, or a year later. So that's the kind of speed we're operating at. And you have one guy build a game in 1 day, and he's making $100K a month with this game. Never made a game before, which I thought was really cool. And so I think to your point, definitely these mega studios, it's going to be much more difficult to justify those kind of productions. But what's going to become possible is very niche games that maybe today the audience isn't large enough, but actually 1 or 2 people could create novel experiences that serve different interest groups and different communities. And you're going to have products that are really viable that you can build with just a couple of people. And so maybe the net result is you see many smaller, more experimental studios over time.
What you think?
I'm supposed to disagree with him, so fuck you, dude. No, I agree. We're going to see a lot of that, and it's just I think it's unfortunately going to be overshadowed by the trauma of this huge, probably a depression though, triggering event.
I mean, I think as societies,
I mean, you're pointing to at least some positives in terms of like we're gonna get some better games. So we're gonna get some faster.
we're going to get different
more
games. We're going to get
people,
like games that are the likes we've never seen before, new genres, like new possibilities for sure.
Yeah.
Do you disagree with that part? Or?
No. I mean, listen. I'm using AI every day. I love it. I'm seeing the same thing.
Supposed to say that.
I know,
It's
I
the
know.
negative.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I begrudgingly love it. I've been talking to friends about these questions. They kind of fall on both sides. Some of them are saying yikes, and some of them are saying golden age. One person I spoke to said, yeah, a little bit of each. I lean more yikes. Yeah.
And why are you?
And I'm not
less
blaming AI.
I guess. Yeah.
Sorry.
I just think, well, like taking a step back as a studio founder, the economics of making games have been broken for a long time, arguably since the beginning of the HD era. And so this goes some way towards addressing that and making it more cost effective to develop games, and develop content and try novel ideas.
So it's resetting you and getting you off the sort of the hamster treadmill.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay. So this is good, but like, is there a way to deal with or offset, if we know some bad things are coming, like if this knowledge apocalypse is coming, what can we do? Like,
Well, again, I don't think it's actually AI that's at fault. It's just an incredibly effective tool that happens to find this incredibly weak spot in our 6,000-year-old system of commerce. And I think because the U.S. is so inured to scalar money, we're going to be the last people to figure it out. I think other countries will figure it out before us and work around it. I'm not real bullish on how we're going to handle it.
so Singapore is going to figure it out.
Singapore is actually pretty good. So what we're already seeing is that the government in Singapore is running courses for people to familiarize themselves with AI tools, like mid-career professionals that are changing. They operate free courses. They encourage companies like ours to also hire these people. They provide grants and subsidies. And so they're very big on retraining. Obviously, Singapore is a country of 7 million people, so it's much easier to do at that kind of scale than something like the US, but there are models out there. Yeah. And I agree, like, I think as a society, we can't just turn our heads away from this. There is a duty to make sure that people aren't left behind.
So that's one way to help this not happen. I guess, are there other ways to make it not happen? The apocalypse, that is.
Well, we can migrate to a vector money economy. So this is getting into my little bailiwick, which is, what we do in game design, especially MMO game design, is we come up with data structures to encode our events and our transactions in the game. And scalar money commerce is generally disruptive to our games. It's like an invasive gameplay mechanic, a good example being the auction house in Diablo. So for brave countries or brave localities that are willing to use AI and AR and shit tons of cameras to basically gamify commerce and governance, and get these old crusty gameplay mechanics out, they're going to do not just fine, but incredibly well. But boy, is that not going to happen here.
So in some sense, a global competition, I guess, in AI, it might turn out to be a good thing because there are countries that will show us the way, I guess, and if we fall behind,
Not to
consequences.
put too fine a point on it,
Yeah.
but scalar money commerce is one of the primary drivers of the Anthropocene extinction, right? In addition to climate change. And so we are threatening our own lives with this system of commerce right now. So someone desperately needs to fix it. I just don't think it's us. I love that there are other countries out there that are willing to pave the way.
So is our system of commerce going to kill us, or is it
Yes,
going to
yes.
is it going to be the AI that kills us?
No, no, no. The AI is like the big trip, the thing we trip over, and then there's going to be this whole like splat, right? And that's going to make a big mess. But everybody's going to blame AI, but it's not AI.
Yeah, your response, or
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment on US politics. So, it's not my place to get involved here.
yeah. Do we want to leave everybody depressed right now, or is there some
No, I think it's
positive
fantastic.
thing we
I
can
look,
say?
I think everyone here in this room, regardless of whether you're technical or not, with the tools that are available today, could actually make a game in a day. And a year ago, that wasn't the case. And these tools are only going to get exponentially better. And so anyone that has taste or is creative can create really cool and really interesting experiences. And so like for me, that's something that I get excited by every day. And so even at work, I'm seeing new stuff every week. We've even created a little ambassador for the players to like chat to, and she can help people guide them through the game and just like hang out. Like this is like really interesting ways of engaging players and providing novel experiences. And so like,
And how quickly are you creating these games? Like, how many have you guys done now?
so last year when we were really experimenting with this, we put it into Fortnite UEFN. We applied it there, and we were shipping a game a week. We're now at the point where actually we can do a game in like a day or two. So, and
How big are these? And like,
These are not like
where
big
do they live? Like on Telegram or?
yeah, so today these are on Telegram. UFN games were on Fortnite, but we would literally look at TikTok trends on a Monday morning and be like, okay, like this meme is trending. Let's kind of, jump on the zeitgeist here. And by Friday, the game was live. We can do it pretty much the same day now. So that's pretty amazing.
Interesting. Does it remind you of those little teams that made games like Doom and Quake? I don't know.
Yeah, there were 6 of us on Doom, roughly in the main dev, and it happened pretty quickly, several months. But keep in mind, back then we had to finish writing the operating system first, and then put a game on top of it. So things are pretty different now. I mean, that's an exciting thing. I personally these days love games in the serious game space. So I'm excited about what this could do for like enabling education and training, that sort of thing. But it's also going to create an incredible flood of content on the market, as evidenced by what he's saying about a game a day, right? And so what do we do about this flood? Historically, what the game industry loves to do when there's a flood of content is we love to crash.
And is there anything else you would suggest that governments do or entities do, other countries, et cetera, to help deal with the, game developers can go and use these AI tools and make better games and make some money, right? But the system still might collapse around them. So how do we stop the system from collapsing?
I think the consensus right now is to bury our heads. But if we're going to pretend we're not, then I think we need to see game developers in legislative roles, which is something I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with, probably for good reason. And I think we need to see experimental systems of commerce and governance in temporary autonomous zones. And the same way you'd approach to prototyping games and finding out, does this work? We need to do something similar, but at a larger scale with commerce and governance.
Very good. Any last words on our debate?
No, for me, look, it's a really interesting time. Go out there, experiment, see what you can build. Download Cursor, see what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Rich Hilliman has a question back here.
So, hello, Ray. Mike, there a lot of discussion about how AI can save money in the process of hand development. When do customers actually get to see what's there?
It's a good question.
You believe that AI will produce change in the pricing model? That is one of the key problems.
Do we believe the pricing model is one of the key problems? Because that's an implicit assumption there.
That's right.
Do we believe that the pricing model is actually a problem in the games industry today?
I guess what I believe is true is that customers are telling us that AAA game costs.
Oh, I agree on that. Yeah, AAA games.
Question is,
Yeah.
if this is a revolution for game,
Yeah.
and the customer doesn't participate, example, ramifications of that, we should expect to be punished.
Yeah, I agree. Look, if you can ship a AAA game for a fraction of the price and in half the time, like, consumers win, right? You don't get these games that have been in development for, not going to name names, right, but upwards of 10 years, and they've sunk hundreds of millions of euros into it, and then it ships with yeah, I don't know, 50 Metacritic, like, we shouldn't be seeing those anymore. And I'm confident we won't, actually, over time.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That's our first debate.
Okay.